This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hey guys, Big Paul here today. I'm at the end of my contest prep, so I'm going to talk about the 12 biggest contest prep mistakes that I see, and I see them all the time. I just kind of, I'll talk to people at my gym, or I'll talk to dudes that I'm consulting, and I just kind of shake my head when they tell me some of the ideas they have for contest prep or things that you do. And believe me, I understand when you're deprived of calories and doing a shit ton of cardio and you're fatigued, your brain plays all sorts of tricks on you and you just do stupid shit and you think stupid shit. But anyway, we are going to dig into the 12 biggest contest prep mistakes right after this. All right, pre-contest mistake number one is underestimating your body fat percentage. I see this one all the time. People think they're way leaner than they are at various phases of their prep. Usually at the start, I get people all the time, hey, what do you think my body fat is? I think I'm like 10, 12%. I should be, I only need to lose 20 pounds to get on stage, and I'm in there thinking to myself, you're more like 25%, dude. And you probably need to lose about 50 or 60 pounds to get on stage. I almost always see that people severely underestimate how high their body fat is and how much weight they actually need to lose to get on stage, unless you've competed before. If you've competed before, then you have a good idea where you're at. But this tends to be a newbie thing. They vastly underestimate where they're at and how lean they need to be to get on stage. Getting stage ready lean is really fucking hard. I'll tell you that. And you have to get super lean. So the better position you're in at the start of contest prep, the easier prep is going to be. So don't be a lard ass at the start of your contest prep, and don't underestimate how fat you are. Mistake number two, too much too soon. I see this one all the time. I'll get people come to me for a fat loss phase, and they'll be like, "Hey, bro, I'm ready to do my cut or my prep or whatever, and I'm already doing, I'm in a good place right now. I'm already doing an hour of cardio every day. I cut my calories down to 1,800 calories, and I'm taking 200 micrograms of clean. How long do you think it'll take for me to get down to 5% body fat?" And I'm like, wait a minute, that's where we're starting? For a 16-week prep or 16-week cut, you're starting off with all of that. So here's the problem. If you throw too much at it too soon, where are you going to go when you get down to the end? I heard John Meadows explain this one time, and I think it was in one of his ebooks or something I bought. But he talked about, I know he played poker, but he talked about thinking a contest prep is like playing poker. You save the aces in your hand for when you need them. So when you need to break out the tactics that are extreme is when you need to have extreme results. It's not at the beginning. At the beginning, a simple small calorie cut and a little bit of cardio should be enough to take the weight off of you. You shouldn't have to do anything extreme at the beginning of your prep. And if you already are doing extreme things at the beginning of your prep, you are fucked, my friend. So, if you're running that much cardio and fat burners and your calories are cut that low right out of the gate, what are you going to do when you're 8 weeks in or 10 weeks in and you need to get that last 4 or 5% off? What are you going to do? Cut your calories down to 800? You're going to take 400 micrograms of clean? You're going to do 3 hours of cardio every day? You see where I'm going with this? So you do exactly what's necessary to take off the weight. Usually like 2 to 3 pounds a week is all you need to cut. That's for a guy. For females, it's probably 1 to 2 pounds per week. And that is it. Don't do too much too soon. All right, the next mistake, and this kind of ties into the previous one, and I've seen this sometimes with, this seems to be a seasoned competitor mistake. I don't see too many newbies making this mistake, is pounding way too much cardio at the end of prep. And I'll see, like there's one dude in my gym. He was like stage ready weeks out. Guy was just you're ripped. And I've made this mistake. I know this firsthand because I have made this mistake myself. You think to yourself, well, if I just push a little bit harder, I'm going to take my conditioning to the next level. And usually what ends up happening when you start pounding even more cardio at the end, you're in such a fatigued state already. And if you start blasting more cardio at the end, you just fuck yourself. You start losing muscle. You become catabolic. Fatigue mounts up even more, and you just look like a flat piece of shit when you get on stage. And I see it all the time. And it seems to be a lot of, inexperienced prep coaches, not saying I know my ass from a hole in the ground, but they have a tendency to push cardio way too much because they're fearful that their guy's going to come in out of shape. And it really is a game of nuance. You have to walk that line between being full and not being in shape. And honestly, now that I'm getting older, I'd rather walk the side of the line of being just a little bit too full, rather than just being, end up nuking myself. But everybody's different. But if you're in stage shape, you don't need to be doing 2 hours of cardio. You just don't. Next mistake, this is also a seasoned competitor mistake. I see this a lot of times, is poor fatigue management. Another one I've been guilty of. And for those of us that are hard workers and grinders, we always feel like we can't work hard enough, that we need to keep pushing, we need to keep pushing, we need to keep pushing. And what it ends up happening, if you push too far and you push through too much, you dig yourself into a fatigue hole that you can't get out until you're in a caloric surplus again. So you just your sleep suffers, you can't sleep, you can't poop, your training sucks, you just have all these major issues that mount up, and all you probably needed to do is just take a deload at some point, or just back off for a few days during your prep and let your body recover. Get a little extra sleep. Maybe you have to miss that morning cardio session to get some extra sleep. Maybe it was more important to sleep that day than to do cardio. And I'm not saying be a slack ass. Don't use that as an excuse to be a slack ass. There is the people on the opposite end of the spectrum that take every chance to excuse themselves of doing work that they possibly can. But for the people that are grinders, you have to be careful not to overwork yourself. Poor fitting posing suits. This is another one I see all the damn time when you get on stage. I think what ends up happening is people see a posing suit they buy it before they start dieting for their show, and it might fit then, it might look okay then, but then you're going to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, and they never try to get on again until the day of the show, and then it doesn't fit anymore. Or they do stupid shit. I see guys do this all the time, like they're worried about, and it definitely feels like your dick's going to fall out of your pants. Sometimes I had one of my guys I work with that was telling me that. I was laughing. And so they don't pull their trunks up high enough, and it just looks weird. And believe me, judges notice shit like that. If it's close between you and another dude and your posing trunks look like shit, you don't have them on properly, that could be the difference between first and second place. So first of all, make sure that the posing suit is snug and fit, and that you're pulling it up high enough. Usually the big mistake I see is that guys let it go too low and they look like shit. Next mistake, not weighing and measuring your food. I can't tell you how much this one drives me nuts. I get people all the time. Well, I'm pretty good at eyeballing it. I know what 50 grams of rice looks like. I'm like, really? When you're on contest prep, attention to detail makes a difference. And I can tell you one thing. I don't trust anybody, including myself, to know what a tablespoon of peanut butter looks like. Eating a tablespoon versus 3 tablespoons could be, over the course of the week, could be the difference between losing a pound of fat. I mean, it really is that big of a deal. It could be another 300 calories a day. And you're doing the math on it, it's like 3/4 of a pound a week. So weigh and measure every ounce of food that goes into your mouth on contest prep. The next mistake, self-coaching. I see it all the time. These people are like, I'm just going to wing it and do the show myself. I don't need to pay a prep coach. Oh my God, don't do that. Just don't do it. As far as I know, there's only been one person in the history of bodybuilding on the professional level that's managed to not have anybody in their corner and compete at a high level, and that was Dorian Yates. And Dorian Yates was just so disciplined and so structured, and he was good at sticking to a goal and not changing his mind 50 million times. The problem that you run into when you're on prep, and this is, I know what I'm doing. I know I have the knowledge to prep myself. But the issue is you kind of get delirious towards the end of prep. Like what you see in the mirror and what you see in your photos isn't what everybody else sees. And you're sleepy, you're tired, you're fatigued, your brain isn't working properly, and you end up just making stupid decisions, or it's hard to be objective about yourself in anything. It's like being on a football team and saying, we don't need a coach. We're going to let the quarterback coach the team. That never works. It just never works. It's like being in a business and saying, we don't need a manager. Just, let everybody do whatever they want. It doesn't work. Hire a coach. Next mistake, panic changes. This is one I see all the time, and I get them a lot in my consults. People reach out to me. Hey, I got 3 weeks left until my show. I don't think this is working. And my coach says I should be doing X. What do you think? Should I be doing Y? I'm like, no, no. Last thing you want to do at the end is make changes. If things don't work out on this prep, just reevaluate, make adjustments the next time. So, the worst time to be making changes is right at the end. And usually you just end up fucking up worse. And people panic at the end when especially if they aren't ready or they think they aren't ready. This goes back to the previous one, why you need a coach and you need to trust that coach. But people make panic changes, and panicked changes are almost never good ones. It's true with anything in life. Anytime you make an emotional or rash decision that's not thought through logically, it's almost always the wrong decision. Don't do it. I have an entire video up on grooming, and this is a good one too, is the last minute shaver, the guy that's shaving his body hair the day of the show. We all know who you are. We've seen you backstage, the guy with razor burn all over him, the guy that's howling at the moon when he's getting his spray tan because the shit burns like fuck when you got razor burn all over you. You got a big patch of hair on your back you missed because you don't have a girlfriend, because you're a bodybuilder and pissed all the women off in your life. Don't trim and shave at the last minute. Start a few weeks out, bare minimum, maybe even a month out. Plus, it allows you to show off your physique. Don't wait until the last minute. It's just a dumb idea. You're going to look like shit. You're going to miss a spot. You're going to get razor burn. Your tan's not going to be on evenly. Something's going to look fucked up. Don't wait till the last minute. I remember last year there was a dude, at the show I was in that had, like, it looked like he shaved the front half of his body, but just completely forgot the back half. He had a hairy ass and hairy hamstrings, and the front of him was shaved down, and it looked so fucking weird. I'm just like, the guy was like in front of me in lineup, and I'm just shaking my head, and it's like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? Don't be that dude. Shave in advance. Self-tanning catastrophes. Now, I've seen some people do self-tanning and they do it well, but they're rare. It's almost like somebody who coaches themselves for a show. And this was another one. There were several dudes last year backstage at the show I was doing that they had tans running. They had, I saw one dude dumping baby oil all over himself. And it was just a fucking shit show. And they don't have the color applied evenly. I mean, how much money are you really saving anyway by the time you buy one of those tanning kits versus paying somebody, a professional that does this shit day in and day out to spray you? I mean, what are you saving, $70-$80? You spent all this time getting ready for the show. Spend a little extra and have them spray you. And then you have nothing to worry about. They take care of you the night before. They touch you up in the morning. They put your glaze on and do touch-ups again backstage. You don't have to worry about anything. That's one less thing. The show day is stressful enough as is. Last thing you want to be doing is completely freaking out before you go on stage because your tan's all fucked up and running. You don't want to have to deal with that. Just pay somebody to spray you. Not practicing posing. This is another great one. This is one I see all the time. I'll see it in the posing room at my gym. guys are coming in 2 weeks before the show and they're starting to run through some poses, just a couple here and there. And I'm like, you are in trouble, my friend, if you're just starting posing right now. You should be doing it the whole 16 weeks of prep. You should be working with a coach. You should be refining your posing. It doesn't matter what your physique looks like. If you can't pose, you're going to get your ass whipped. And I saw it last year. I've seen it, at countless shows that I've been at. There's the guy up on the stage that's sweating and getting the shakes because he hasn't practiced holding these poses. He has no idea how to pose. They're in weird ass positions. I saw one dude at a show last fall that was just like, I have no idea what he was doing. He was just like bending over. I know they tell you to tilt towards the judges. It's a little bit, but like the dude was like bent over at a 45-degree angle so the judges could see him. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Oh my God. I don't know why you'd spend this. This is the maddening part. You spend all this time and effort getting ready for a show, and then you don't practice posing. It's the same thing with trying on your posing trunks and getting the spray tan. Just spend a little extra and be ready. That's all you have to do. And the final one, and this is one that I have been guilty of myself, is overdoing the fat burners. More is not better with fat burners. There is a sweet spot, and you've got to find out where that sweet spot is for your body. But if you go overkill with the fat burners, you can't sleep, your fatigue mounts up, you would go catabolic, you end up starting melting muscle off, and you just end up looking like a cancer patient when you get on stage, which was my situation last year. I probably am going to be 30, 40 pounds heavier on stage this year than I was last year. And I really fucked up at the end of my prep last year and took too many fat burners. Don't be that guy. There are people that do it. Be careful with the fat burners. This is a personal one to me. This is one I made a mistake on. So be smart with the fat burners. Take what you need, no more. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I really appreciate you watching. Please take the time to subscribe to my channel. I get so many people watching, not that many people subscribing. It really helps me out when you subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, each and every one of you, for watching. Take care. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.